Masnamkele kwinkqubo yethu EVOB Voice of the Bay. Good evening and welcome to your favorite talk show in the Eastern Cape. Igama lam Percy Lamani. Tonight I am hosting Mkhonto Sizwe Party Regional Convener Mr. Xolani Mgxotheni and Mr. Gift Ngqondi of the African National Congress. In fact, he's the head of communication of the ANC, but we do not have any panel discussion. I am going to host them separately. Mr. Mgxotheni, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Percy.
As you know that, especially in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, including Mpumalanga, there is a lot of noise around the formation, the campaigns of Mkhonto Sizwe. The person that I'm having in the studio is Mr. Xolani Mgxotheni. He will tell us more about the political party that he has decided to form part of it, that is Mkhonto Sizwe. Mr. Mgxotheni, we all know you as a member, as a staunch member of the African National Congress. You grew up in the African National Congress. You were part of COSAS, you were part of ANC Youth League. Sometime there was a noise around your age. Do you still remember? Yes. When you wanted to form part of the ANC NEC way back? Again, you were part of the ANC regional committee in the Nelson Mandela Bay. A lot of people, they are so interested to know why you have decided to leave the African National Congress. What happened?
Thank you very much, Percy. One, I must say that you get impressed by the values of an organization you join. Especially when you join the African National Congress after the era of democratic breakthrough. So all of us, when we grew up, we have known of the ANC and nothing else. There was nothing much said about PAC and other organizations. So it's what was there. And we could see from people who were coming from the townships we were coming from and so on. Those were the people of character. Those were the people whom were not doing such things as you see them today. So as you grow in an organization, you get to understand politics as they are, and then you get to understand the politics of the organization you are a part of. Now, once you arrive to that point of knowledge and understanding of these two components I have raised, the next thing that happens, your tools of analysis, how you see things, how now you understand how things should be done in this organization are clear in your mind. It then becomes easy for you to see when the organization is no longer walking the path that has influenced you to be part of this organization. It's like getting into a taxi that goes to Green Acres. Immediately that taxi takes a detour to New Brighton. You would argue with the driver. And if the driver doesn't listen, you will force the driver to take you off the taxi.
Do you leave ANC as a disgruntled former ANC member?
No. I'm not disgruntled. At the time I'm leaving the ANC, I was the branch chairperson of the ANC.
Pakawat 23.
Pakawat 23. I united a branch that was divided for more than 10 years.
Is there anything that has to do with your new membership at MK? Is there anything that has to do with the dissolution of the provincial leadership in 2018?
Look, from 2014, let me go back a bit. From 2014, when we went to the conference of the Youth League in Wilsonia, where many members of the Youth League from Nelson Mandela Metro, OR Tambo and PCM were chased by chairs, it's when we started to notice that how the ANC deals with its internal matters is more factional than organizational. Because that matter was never resolved. We were called at Lutuli House by Abo Comrade Mandash and Abo Comrade Chesi Twat and Nomvula May, Mamu Chesi, her soul rest in peace. They said it in our eyes and ears that we are going to deal with your matters. They never dealt with them. It was one small line to endorse the Conference of the Eastern Cape, but we stayed in the ANC and in the ANC Youth League. We never left. Come to 2017, in the Conference of the ANC in ICC, you can tell me today how that matter was resolved. And no one can give you a clarity on how that particular matter was resolved.
What do you call that?
It's factionalism, but now the current leadership of the ANC, it's no longer factional. It's personal to certain individuals.
So you are saying it's beyond factionalism?
It's beyond factionalism. It's something you can't repair.
So it's personal?
They are personal to a number of leaders of the ANC.
Did you experience that?
First-hand experience. I'm one of them.
Tell us.
Let me go to you get elected in a structure, and there is someone who sits there and vows that that structure will not finish its term. You will experience that. It happened to our conference where we were elected in 2017.
Now that you are out of the ANC, there is no disciplinary hearing that you will face. Who are you talking about?
Omabuyane, they are highly personal. Yonke la PC officials, I think, abantu abaphethe regular PC, it's umvogo no treasurer. The rest of those officials are highly factional and personal individuals. I will give you a second example. When Comrade Andile had a fight in council, the province issued a statement of support. But when Comrade Andile contested them in the next conference of the ANC, in which it was the Festival of Chess, they changed tongues now, and they became the champions of pushing Andile to step aside, pushing Andile to DC. All sorts of things were done. Can you see? Now, we ask ourselves, what happened to the message of support? Because you are the same structure that was supporting Andile after the incident that happened in council 2016. Okay.
Post-2016 local government election, there was some rumors that the African National Congress might be in a coalition with the Democratic Alliance. Is there anything that you want to say around that?
That was not a rumor. That was not a rumor. That's what led, that's part of the reasons we ended up being dissolved. It's because it's something they could not present and justify to that REC that was led by Chuni and Katula after Andile was taken out. We refused to be part of that thing. It was not a rumor. Even the list they gave us, where people who are in council and were active, remember we here in the Eastern Cape were the first people to manage the establishment of a coalition of many parties. It's us, it's that REC. They never cared about anything until we succeeded in managing this thing of a coalition. They gave us a list, took out Andy, whom was the center of negotiations, was sent by us, the REC, then, that go and negotiate this thing. Now, when the person is the center of negotiation, he's got a better understanding of this thing. He's taken out. And everyone else, they even tried to bring ward councillors because they believed that in the contingent of the PR councillors then,
we will go for a commercial. So these are some of the reasons or factors that caused you to leave the ANC.
No, these ones are local. They are very small. The main reason I left the ANC because the ANC, it is no longer for its members. It is controlled somewhere else.
Thank you very much. We will go for a commercial ad break. Senamkela kwi nkqubo yethu EVOB. Sibuyele kwakhona sinamkela kwinkqubo yethu iVOB Voice of the Bay. Once again, welcome back from the ad break. I'm still with the regional convener of Mkhonto Sizwe Party, Mr. Xolani Mgxotheni. Once again, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Before we go for a commercial ad break, you listed a number of things or events that took place. Some of them, they form part of your decision to leave the African National Congress. You were not treated fairly by the Eastern Cape provincial leadership. You even cited the chairman and the secretary that they are the people who are so brutal in terms of dealing with the issues within the ANC members. They are so factional.
Yes.
Do you want to add some of the events that...
It's fine. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
In 2018, after the conference of 2017, you are dissolving a regional executive committee. You take an additional member who was not even a working committee member. You make that person a coordinator of the next RTT. What do you call that? Then immediately after that, this person gets elected to the legislature. Then you take a youth league person who has never led the unit of the ANC. You make that person the next RTT coordinator of the ANC, overlooking everyone with all experiences that the ANC, if you are saying it was not in good hands when it was led by us, we expect you to choose people with an experience and expertise of leading the organization successfully. Instead, you take people with no track record of leading a unit or a street committee and say these are the people that are going to fix this organization better than these ones. What do you call that? You know, let me go further and give you the picture of favorism and factionalism. You don't stop there. You take Babala to the legislature. Now, you manage to win a coalition discussion to be part of the coalition with a full contingent of councillors. You leave everyone here. You then go back to Babalwa at legislature so that Babalwa can come back and become a mayor here. That was the intention.
But she is the chairperson of the ANC.
So what does that have to do with anything? Yes, she is. What does that have to do with anything? There is no interrelationship in these positions in terms of the ANC policy and constitution. It's only the president of the ANC who has to be the candidate national, no one else. That's why when Pumulo...
So anyone like Councillor Babalolubishe,
Go to KZN.
who is holding a regional chairperson's position,
Go to KZN.
can be deployed anywhere.
Go to KZN now. The chairperson of KZN is not a premier. As we speak, the chairperson of KZN is not a premier. Now, if the ANC and Foot, the reason is not a premier now, it's because he was on the other side going to Nazareth. Now, if the ANC was fair enough and unitary in its approach, you would have that being done across all structures of the organization. We understand? So, AICO, it doesn't exist.
Okay, let's talk about your newly formed Mkhonto Sizwe. Let's look at some of the... Okay, the president, according to his statement, he publicly said that he is still the member of the ANC, but he is not going to vote for the ANC. He is still the member of the ANC. He is not going to campaign for the African National Congress. Here in your interim structure, there is a person called Mascole Mashelele. Mascole Mashelele, he publicly pronounced that he is a card-carrying member of the African National Congress, but he is supporting Mkhonto Sizwe party. Ata Mahwana has not resigned from the ANC, but he is part of your leadership.
Including myself.
Did you resign from the
No,
ANC?
I did not submit any resignation.
Why?
I left the
Why?
ANC. I do not have time to be wasting my ink and paper for the ANC. The ANC has a constitution. It should know what needs to be done to a person who has left it. That's very simple and
What do you
straightforward.
expect?
I expect nothing from them. I've part ways with the ANC. I don't care what
So
they
you
do.
have expelled yourself.
I have not done anything. I went to join Mkhonto with Sizwe. What the ANC wants to do is its baby. Now I went to Mkhonto with Sizwe. Finish and clear.
Okay. From now, what are your objectives as Mkhonto Sizwe?
The first objective is to build the organization to be very strong in order to take the ANC out of power. That's the first thing. Once you manage to take the ANC out of power, you are in a better position to influence your vision. For instance, we speak about the power and the authority of chiefs over important decisions that are concerning their constituents in their jurisdiction. From where I'm sitting, I do not see them having that power because there is no distinct clarity between the councillor and the chief. A councillor, because they are very corrupt, these ones of the ANC, goes there, look for a so-called funder and a developer and show that person the land that belongs to a chief without any form of consultation. And yet, if you go to history, when we say this is our land, there were people who were in charge of our areas. There were people whom had authority over the land that we are saying was our land. These were the kings and chiefs. But today, when we talk about all these things of land redistribution, expropriation of land without consultation and everything, we put that solely on government's shoulders with no proper participation of kings and chiefs.
Some of the South African people doubt the credibility of the former president, Jacob Zuma.
Those ones are choosing to be deaf. Those ones are choosing to be blind. Did the president subtract the development of the country during the so-called 9 wasted years? Because the speech started from 1994 till 2023. That was the speech we were listening to. And I was very interested from the president to say, no, we are not going to own the infrastructure development that was done under President Zuma. No, we are not going to own the successful World Cups that were hosted by President Jacob Zuma. We are not going to own the universities and schools and railways lines that were built by President Zuma.
Some South African people associate President Zuma with corruption.
It's a narrative. It's a narrative that...
And how do you defend that narrative?
I'm saying it's a narrative that has been continuously pushed by media. It's a narrative that has been pushed by courts, which is the judiciary in this case. I'm saying this because, one example, President Zuma's tenure fixes ESCOM. And then after we're told about state capture and everything, these people must be taken out of ESCOM, blah, 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 blah. You replace these people by nothing. What do you call that? Because now we are moving from stage 1 to stage 8 now. Instead of, we are expecting to say, a corrupt person disturbs progress. You know? So, if you are saying, oh, were corrupt, you are simply saying they were disturbing the progress of our people. We expect that ESCOM should have been in its lowest. But instead, these ones who are saying they are fixing, they have collapsed it.
Let's just put a pause and go for another commercial ad break. Let's go for a commercial ad break with, for the last time with Mr. Xolani Mgxotheni. Kosikakhona ngokuba kunye nathi ngakumna ngakumbi kwabo ke basanda kungena emakhaya senamkela kwinkqubo yethu iVOB sendiqola ndiqukumbela naye regional convener womkhonto wesizwe Mhlekazi Xolani Mgxotheni sikwamkele kokugqibela Mhlekazi.
Siyabulela kwakhona Professor.
ANC is in the pockets of white people.
Yes.
It's no longer driving the radical economic transformation. Who are these people?
You know, before the NEC meeting that chased out Mahashul, there's a man called Johan Rupert who went to TV and said, if in this weekend Ramaphosa doesn't chase out Mahashula from the ANC, he will be on his own. I think ikhona loo nto ungayiguglisha ngexesha lakho. Indeed, Ace Mahashule on that weekend was gone. What other proof do you need? Leave the policy-related matters because they are there. The conference sits and resolves on nationalization, expropriation of land, and all of those things. Give me the program to do those things. Let alone they are not done. Give me just a program to say, no, this was the program, it was disturbed by COVID. Nothing was disturbed by COVID. When COVID came, we had nothing. The ANC was doing nothing. By the way, I think the leaders are comfortable. They were saved by that year of doing nothing official.
Do you believe that your leader, former President Jacob Zuma, was captured by the Guptas?
I do not believe that.
Why?
Simply because you know when you say a person is captured, you are literally saying this person doesn't think without being told by these people. That's what you are saying. And I do not think they did have that power. Otherwise, if they did have that power, it means Pravin Gordhan was appointed by Guptas. That's what it means. Because Pravin Gordhan was the minister under the leadership of Comrade President Jacob Zuma. It means Ramaphosa was appointed by Guptas because he became the deputy president under the leadership of Comrade Jacob Zuma.
Why the Zondo Commission was formed?
I think the Zondo Commission was formed to legitimize the narrative of demolishing the character of President Jacob Zuma and everyone, by the way, who was pushing the fight against white monopoly capital.
So, what do you think the people who voluntarily went into that commission?
They said nothing. They went to that commission and said nothing because no one was compelled to prove anything. I mean, look on the case of the cameras of Mandash. It just ended like that. 300 and some odd thousand cameras, and the man says, I never saw them, I don't know these people.
So you don't believe that President Zuma is a corrupt leader?
I don't. I must tell you, I don't believe any of those things that are said there.
Nothing that has to do with him that talks about corruption?
I don't believe it. I'm not saying there is nothing, but I'm saying I don't believe it. I mean, look at the arms deal. How can you have a case that takes more than 20 years and still there is nothing? You know, there is nothing. From 700 and some odd charges, now we are told there are 16, and there is no explanation what happened. Utatu Zuma was at KZN, MEC. The arms deal was done by the National Defense Office. Panzi Kotatu Teralikota, Notatu Tabumbik. How does he get there in terms of the procedures of government? To do corruption, you must have a role there.
The majority of the South African people, under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma, did not vote for the ANC. That is why the African National Congress dropped in terms of numbers.
Which one? Which African National Congress are you talking about? Zuma had more percentage than Ramaphosa, far, by far.
the majority of the South African people stated publicly that they are not going to vote for the ANC because it is led by a corrupt leader called Jacob Zuma.
That's why I'm asking you, which majority are you talking about? Because in comparison of percentages of people who went out to vote during the tenure of Ramaphosa and the tenure of Zuma, Zuma stands out as number one. So when these people whom President Zuma was calling them clever blacks have access to media houses, have access to all those public platforms to speak alone, we then judge the mentality and the view of the society on the basis of one person who went to ETV and speak there alone. Then ETV will go to some location, identify two people whom we believe, by the way, they knew what they were going to say before they were identified and say, no, we don't want Jacob Zuma is corrupt. You see? But in comparison of delivery between the 9 years of Zuma and these years of Ramaphosa, there is nothing that talks to the poor. One single thing that we can point that is done by Ramaphosa, let alone in comparison of delivery. But I'm saying there's nothing.
Are you talking about the 9 wasted years?
I'm saying the 9 wasted years has delivered things I can count as I'm sitting here. But Ramaphosa's tenure, you will be told about, we have been dealing with state capture, we have been dealing with COVID, we are dealing with GBV. We have always been dealing with GBV. It's not new.
What is your view around the name called Mkhonto Sizwe, which is being challenged by the ANC?
It's a very progressive name, that one. You see, that organization from its formation, it's clear that...
But the ANC is claiming this name as their intellectual property.
It's called opportunism. For the ANC in Mkhonto Sizwe, there is nothing to claim. They have Mkhonto Sizwe, military veteran, that they do not care about. They must start by caring about those people whom they forced to form association and collapse Mkhonto Sizwe unceremoniously.
So, what if the courts favors the ANC?
We will not stop the revolution.
What do you mean?
Proceed. We will take ANC out of power. We will not stop, Percy.
Are you still going to use the name?
It depends on the decision of the collective. I can't sit on this chair.
Hence I'm saying, what will happen?
But the guarantee,
what will happen if the courts favors the African National
I'm giving you the guarantee of the fact is that we are not going to stop.
You will continue fighting?
Yes, we will continue fighting. We are not going to stop. Mkhonto Sizwe, from its inception, was not meant to fight for the ANC. It was meant to liberate the people of South Africa.
Just before we conclude our discussion, what is your program around Nelson Mandela Bay?
Right now, Percy, we are busy mobilizing. Even before we were established as a task team, we have been mobilizing, but now we have a structure to coordinate that work and make sure now we are properly visible. 2, we'll make sure that Mkhonto Sizwe is not an organization. People, they think an organization is an organization of rallies. This organization will go to every corner in this Nelson Mandela Metro and make sure that every person goes out and vote Mkhonto Sizwe.
Do you have any funding to do that?
As we speak here, I asked a friend to drop me here. It means we don't have a funding. We don't have a funding. We work here voluntarily. There's no money. And if money comes, we'll welcome it and use it to buy T-shirts and other things.
Regional Convener, Xolani Mgxotheni, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. We hope to see you again in these studios next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Percy.
That was the original convener of Mkhonto Sizwe, Mr. Xolani Mgxotheni. After the break, ANC Head of Communications, Mr. Gift Ngqondi. Sinamkele kwakhona kwinkqubo yethu i-VOB Voice of the Bay. Igama lam Percy Lamani. I am with the Head of Communications of the African National Congress in this province, Mr. Gift Ngqondi. Good evening and welcome, Mr. Ngqondi. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngqondi. Before the ad break, I hope you were listening to all what has been said by the MK regional convener, Mr. Mkhonto. There are a lot of negative things that he has uttered about the African National. I'm giving you this opportunity just to respond, and then we continue with our business.
Thanks very much, Percy, for the opportunity, for inviting us to be here in the studio. Unfortunately, I cannot respond to slander and falsehood and untruths because I'm not here to respond to MK. I'm here to represent the ANC to talk about our lekhotla that we had over the past weekend and the work that we have done in the province and the work that we continue to do in the province. So we don't have time and energy and mileage to give it to MK. Unfortunately, we don't have.
Are you still going to challenge them in the courts of law around the
Yes, of course.
Intellectual property?
Yes, of course, ANC is busy with that matter, but unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about MK. I'm here to talk about the ANC. And I'm not here to respond to them.
He has also mentioned that the African National Congress is in the pockets of the Oppenheimers and Ruperts. Do you want to respond?
Unfortunately, I'm not here, and I want to put this on record. I am not here to respond to MK, to the slander, accusations, falsehoods, untruths. I'm here to talk about the ANC and its program.
Over the weekend,
so we won't be wasting our time.
Over the weekend, you were at the Boardwalk Casino here at Gqeberha in your two-day lekhotla. There are a lot of things that you have discussed, including service delivery related matters. Can you take us through what were your priorities in terms of service delivery in your discussions?
Thanks very much, Percy. You know, of course, that we are a few months before elections, and the ANC, through its peace lekhotla over the last weekend, made an assessment of the work done in this current 6th administration of the province, and also looking at the shortcomings, and also paving or planning the way forward as we go to elections, because in this province, the ANC has been receiving overwhelming majority from 1994, which was the political breakthrough, up until 2019. And of course, again, when the president announces the elections, we're going to again receive that overwhelming, resounding victory to the ANC. So of course, in the lekhotla, we were looking at the reports from government on the work that has been done. And part of the work that has been done, and I'm sure people who crisscross the province will tell you that the province is a construction site. If you just pass Grahamstown, there's a road construction between Grahamstown and Petty. Before you arrive in King Williamstown, there's a road construction between Unoncamba as you go to Eqonce. And the good thing is that in that road construction between Unoncamba and Eqonce, you see two bridges that have already been constructed, done, imoto bridges. When you enter Eqonce, there's a bypass that is going to Ginsberg with a cost of 5 million rand. Just two days ago, I think it was on Monday, in one of the daily newspaper, two SMMEs from Ginsberg location, Eqonce, they were proud to say they've been beneficiaries of that program. Now, being beneficiaries of that program, they also employed people from Ginsberg who participated in the construction of that road, which is a bypass to Ginsberg. So these are the good things that the ANC government is doing, and we're receiving that report not only eQonce, but when you go out of eQonce, there's an interchange or there's a bridge that is being constructed between Breitbach and on the N2 going to East London. When you leave Bisho going to Qumga on the R61, there's a road construction. When you go to Msikaba Bridge, Elusigisigi, there's a 6 billion rand bridge project as a connector N2 from KZN up to N2 Yocho East London. And that bridge, with cost about 6 billion rand, has created jobs at plus minus 3,000 direct jobs. So we were getting those reports in the Lekgotla of the ANC that there's a good work that has been done by this province, especially this sixth current administration.
Did you do good in education?
Yes, we did good. We did good. Let's start with the issue of the exams. Doomsayers, they will keep on saying in the past that Sungumkanja in the Eastern Cape. And I'm sure you have seen the results for the last 3 years, that there have been great improvements from 70% up until 81.42% in the province on the last year's results, which was a resounding achievement in the province that those who were writing us off were shocked too. If you look at the program of the Ministry of Education, since COVID, we have been opening new schools in the province. If you go to the Joe Kabi region, your Alfrenzo region, your Tambo region, we have opening new schools. Just this month alone, 5 schools are being opened by the MEC. Just last week, Apikariech, Nelson Mandela, and a school worth about 80 million rand with state-of-the-art facility was opened at Kariecha.
No,
just
we
tomorrow,
know that.
Just tomorrow, there's another school, Zibimeya Primary School, Alfrenzo West. That school that is going to be open tomorrow, it's all a state-of-the-art school. So these are the kinds of work that the education is doing in the province. In fact,
this is the good work that we have done.
There have been a lot of infrastructure projects when it comes to education in the province.
Mr. Ngqondi, why are you not prioritizing the issue of pit latrine?
I mean, we were here in this studio.
Why?
We were here in this studio last year, and we clarified this matter of pit latrines that, unfortunately, people keep on raising this, are not traveling to the west side of the province, your former Transkei, or your Tambo, your Alfrenzo, and see some of the infrastructure projects that this current sixth administration is being preoccupied with. Some of these pit latrines have been eradicated in those schools, and unfortunately, media does not tell us. They only show in some of the small areas.
They are eradicated and replaced with what?
With toilets, with normal toilets.
Flushing toilets?
With flushing toilets.
In deep rural areas?
In deep rural areas.
Which are those areas?
In deep rural areas, we've got areas that have got electricity. You can't say you can't have sanitation in a deep rural area. I mean, the schools that are being opened now, there are no pit latrines. Just to tell you that this issue is being dealt with by the Department of Education.
The Department of Education in this province has a shortage of 2,000 educators in the entire province.
Yes, I agree.
When are you going to hire?
Yes, I agree. If you recall, in our other interview, the challenge that we are facing as the province, one, first and foremost, ANC looks at education and health as an apex areas. And that's why a lot of funding goes to education and health. And unfortunately, some of the funding that goes to these departments go to the issue of wage bill, which this current administration is also addressing, because we can't fulfill all our objectives of ensuring that the service delivery if we spend the chunk of the budget to the wage bill, which does not address what we want. But fortunately enough, this is also one of the issues that we're discussing in the Lekgotla, that when we plan for the new financial year that starts in April, we are going to persuade the National Treasury that more funding must be allocated to the province so that we acquire and employ more teachers to the education sector in the province.
Sorry for interruption. Unfortunately, we have to go for a commercial ad break. Let's go for a commercial ad break. This is our last segment with the head of communications of the African National Congress, Mr. Ngqondi. Once again, good evening.
Thanks very much, Mr.
Take us through to what you have been discussing in the two-day Lekgotla. Important issues that people must really know.
One of the things that we discussed on the Lekgotla was the issue of job creation and investment in the province. And the good thing about investments and job creation in the province, if you look at the report of Census or the Statistics South Africa of 2022, in the province, during even the time of COVID, we created plus minus 200,000 jobs. And this report is not a report from the ANC. It's a credible report, a scientific report coming from Statistics South Africa, which is a credible institution, not the ANC. And we're very proud that we have created those 200,000 jobs. And people who have been employed can confirm that they've been employed in different sectors of society, whether it's hospitality industry, whether it's security industry, but they can confirm. Two, if you look at that report, it also tells you that investments in the province have ballooned, plus minus 127 billion investment have came to the province. Just recently, you have a Stellantis motor company. A Stellantis motor company that produces your Peugeot is going to open here this year, now at here, just next door at Kucha, which is going to create plus minus 1,000 direct jobs. And that investment alone is rejuvenating not only the economy of Gqeberha Nelson Mandela, but rejuvenating the economy of the province, because people who get employment in some of the projects that are catalytic at Kucha IDZ are people who are coming from far along areas like your Matatiele, your Lusikiseki, your Flagstaff, who are coming to Gqeberha, because we are not a federal province, we are not a federal state. Everyone can look for work opportunity anywhere in the country. Hence, we're very proud that we've got this particular IDZ that has rejuvenated the economy of our province. So these are the things that we were dealing with. But also on the issue of crime, I think the issue of crime was also top of the agenda. You recall that Umpu Udala Ukhalabak province since 2019.
And what are you doing about that? And what are you doing about that?
You recall even in Nelson Mandela about...
You have been talking about this issue.
No,
nothing
simple.
But nothing that you are doing.
No. There have been a lot of interventions. People were killed.
But people are still dying.
People were killed up at Kazakele just in January last year. Ovusi. People are arrested. Just recently, last week on Friday, Advocate Maseti in East London, he was shot broad daylight when he was entering his office. Unfortunately, 2 days later, 2 people who were associated with his family were arrested, who in fact were the son of his brother, were arrested, and 3 other people who are coming from KZN were arrested. They are not the only ones. I mean, if you go to Amtata in the areas of Bichi, people were killed, a lot of young people in Bichi were arrested. So there are many interventions that have been made by crime intelligence, including the police, but we still maintain that illegal firearms are loose in the province, and crime intelligence must be beefed up to make sure that everyone who's having an unlicensed firearm gets arrested.
You have been beefing up these agencies that are law enforcement, but the killings are still continuing.
Yes, because there are a lot of illegal firearms, but this must also be a collaboration between communities and the police, because people know where criminals are, and people must speak up, even if they can provide that information to crime intelligence, because I know for a fact that abantu abaninzi boyika ukuziveza, but there are systems in place to make sure that xa uyazi ukuthi apha kule area there are people, there are gangs who are killing people. I mean, in the province, not only here in Gqeberha, but in other parts of the province, including Amtata, we are told that there are rackets, people who demand protection fees, and people must expose people who demand protection fees, because they are staying within their communities. If people don't tell us that these ones are involved in protection fees, they're not going to be caught. But if people exposes people who are involved in those rackets, they will be arrested. And that collaboration with communities will assist to make sure that all these criminal gangs gets arrested and sent to jail.
Are you going to retain this province?
No, of course. You know.
The reason why I'm asking,
why
I'm asking this question, Mr. Ngqondi, the provincial chairperson of the ANC has reported that your branches are so weak. So I just want you to tell us, how are you going to win the election with weak branches?
Look, Our branches are challenged. They are not weak, they are challenged. Like any other organization.
But,
like any other
your
organization.
provincial
But you
chairperson
remember,
used the word weak.
Yes, of course, but you remember that...
Did you correct him?
No. Remember.
Or are you correcting him?
The provincial chairperson
Are you
is
correcting
making
him?
a political overview in a lekgotla of the ANC. He is being genuine of what we are facing on the ground, as structures of the ANC. That on its own is an admission that there are challenges in our structures, but that does not mean that we are not going to win elections, because we've got also election structures who complement the work of the ANC, and those election structures continuously are doing the work on the ground. We have been doing voter registration campaigns since last year. We are currently even doing those voter registration now. We are continuing doing mass work, going to our communities and telling them about the achievement that we have made as an ANC government in this province. And they have been very clear that they are going to vote for ANC because they know that the ANC has changed their lives. Just for the record, abantu balapha in South Africa, they know that before 1994, most yabo babeziclerks, babengamapolice, babezitraffic, babezipota ezibhedlela. They know that. But after 1994, abantu balapha in South Africa, they know that this ANC-led government brought legislation to redress the imbalances of the past. And two of those legislations that are key is affirmative action, because they were given opportunities that were denied before. Second of this legislation is employment equity. That has addressed the imbalances faced by women in this country. Today, we are very proud as an ANC government that we have produced CEO of companies, we have produced DGs, we have produced directors, we have produced people who are in middle management of position who are black, coming from our own communities. Today, Bazi, CEO, the major multinational companies in this country because of the legislation of the ANC.
Lastly,
and today, their kids go to this former Model C school. Today, they stay in suburbs because there was Group Areas Act before. But today, because of the ANC government that has brought all these changes, they can really freely take their kids. They've got mobility.
Lastly, Mr. Ngqondi, how are you going to address, before the elections, the issue of factionalism? Because it's the one that causes your branches to be weak, because there are a lot of infighting in your branches.
You see, one of the good things about the ANC is that it's a democratic organization. And because of it's a democratic organization, it's got democratic principles. And many people want to be in the organizational life of the ANC. And many people want to lead the structures of the ANC. Hence, sometimes you see this mushrooming of factionalism because everybody wants to lead. And that's why we always teach people about humility. Because when you are a member of the ANC, you must have humility first. Because when you join the African National Congress, you don't join the African National Congress for your own selfish interest. You join the African National Congress because likhaka labantu boMzantsi Afrika, it's a shield of our own people to change their lives. But in the process, you get people who are preoccupied with self-interest, who are preoccupied with trying to get positions in the ANC. And because of that democratic character of the ANC, you'll see those people. But at the end of the day, ANC, one day, it will erode factionalism. And part of eroding factionalism is to ensure that our people get real political education so that we can have political syllabus. People understand why they join the ANC, why they have to serve the ANC and serve the people of South Africa to make sure that they change their life for the better.
Mr. Ngqondi, thank you very much. If we had time, besingathetha ngo-8 out of 10 ka-Premier if besinexesha.
No. Let me quickly. Premier has got 10 of those 10 because 11 departments received clean audits in the last financial year.
Let's leave it there for now.
That was a good work.
Let's leave it there for now. Mphulaphula Pekhaya, happy Valentine's Day. Nkosini kakhulu ngokuba kunye nathi kwinkqubo yethu. We value your support for watching our shows on Channel 260. That is your Mpuma Kappa TV. My name is Percy Lamani. Let's meet again next week between 7 and 8 o'clock. Adios, amigos. God bless.